The Resilient Dairy Genome Project is really about breeding cows that can stay healthy, productive, and efficient, even as things change. Things like heat or disease or feed challenges are coming into our industry, and we're using genomic tools to identify the animals that are naturally more resilient, so farmers can breed cows that produce well and have a smaller environmental footprint. We work together with a large number of national and international colleagues on this project, which is really good. There's 42 institutions worldwide involved.
Welcome to the Dairy Health Blackbelt Podcast. I'm 𝗟𝗶𝘀𝗃𝗃. I'm your host for today. And today I have the pleasure to receive once again Dr. Christine Baes, who is professor and candidate chair of research livestock and genetics at the University of Guelph. And she has been in the podcast before talking about genetics and how that affects animal health and how that is associated and leads to more sustainable dairy systems. And today we're going to talk a little bit more about the dairy resilient cow project that she has, and she'll bring us more information about all the good work and very advanced science that they're doing in collaboration with many other universities. Welcome again to our podcast, Dr. Baes. It's very nice to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so before we talked a lot about the genetics and how that can be used, and it's very helpful and has been used to help the sustainability of the dairy industry. And then we alluded to and briefly that you're part of a international effort, a project that is titled Resilient Dairy Genome, and you've also been part of the Net Zero Dairy Genomics project. Those are very interesting. I have had the opportunity to see you speak in different avenues about it, and it's super interesting. It's very important what you're doing. Can you give us a little bit more, for those of us that are listening to this that don't know much about it? Could you explain a little bit of what you're doing and your team?
Sure. The Resilient Dairy Genome Project is really about breeding cows that can stay healthy, productive, and efficient, even as things change. Things like heat or disease or feed challenges are coming into our industry, and we're using genomic tools to identify the animals that are naturally more resilient, so farmers can breed cows that produce well and have a smaller environmental footprint. We work together with a large number of national and international colleagues on this project, which is really good. There's 42 institutions worldwide involved.
Yeah, that's nice.
So we're not alone in this, but we've really got a good team, and we've been able to make some real progress in this area. So we're really happy about it.
𝗦𝗽ecie turns podcast airtime into brand authority. We don't sell ads, we elevate voices. Curious how far your voice can go to become a reference in the industry and attract more leads? Scan the QR code and discover how we can turn your expertise into unmatched brand authority. Let's transform expertise into influence, starting now.
That's interesting. You say 42 institutions, so I assume there's hundreds of people involved when we have these numbers. What were the techniques or the discussions like when you're coming to this? What's the resilient cow? How did you come up with a definition?
It was really difficult. When we say that a cow is resilient, we mean that she can stay healthy and productive even when things around her are changing. So whether that's the weather, the feed quality, or the management practices, a resilient cow really bounces back quickly from stress. She keeps eating, she keeps milking, she doesn't need as much intervention.
Yeah, it's interesting because, like I said, I've seen you speak in different conferences and meetings, and I have been to meetings where we bring together North America and Europe, and sometimes we're not speaking the same language. My impression was we were saying the same thing, the two sides, through two different ways of saying it, but they both are looking for the same thing in different directions. And it sounds like they were not on the same page at first, but like when you look very deeply into that, like they all were saying the same thing, different avenues. That's why I asked you about this, because it's like I was up from the outside looking in. It's like that would be an interesting place to be to hear more about they came up with. So I said 42 institutions, a lot of people working on this. What have you guys, this big team, come up with so far? What are the good things that we could share with people?
Right. So we came up with a few things, I think. We've got a number of new traits that are being implemented in Canada, including feed efficiency and methane emissions. So the national evaluation has been implemented here, and a number of countries are also working on or have already implemented selection procedures for methane and feed efficiency through this collaboration, which is really exciting. Additionally, we're working on calf health traits that are to be incorporated into the genetic evaluation in Canada. We've already got fertility disorders included, so that's really positive. When we started the project, we wanted to actually have a new index, a brand new index, but the industry kind of didn't really want that. So we ended up incorporating it into the current index, which is actually better because it's embedded really into how we breed cows in Canada, which is great.
Well, it makes it easier, right? Like changes are always challenging. So if you have a smaller one and you do a little bit at a time, it will make it easier to adopt. Very interesting. And you alluded and you made some of those comments that you have these new traits people are doing. So how is it changing what you're seeing on the farms or what the farmers are seeing? Do you have results that are long enough in the project to have some of these results on the ground already?
Yeah, so the incorporation into the national index has been completed. We haven't seen a huge re-ranking of the bulls because these changes are so subtle. It is, as you know, genetic selection and genomic selection is a long-term. It's a big ship to change direction of. So we are expecting to see these changes very soon. But it will take time because it's not a silver bullet. It's a marathon, not a sprint, I guess.
And the changes, they're more on like the methane emission, for example, because in reading all your biography and the things you're doing and your objectives, I see that like milk production or sustaining the productivity, it's always part of this. You're not doing all these other changes, taken away from milk production, which would not be sustainable. So is that why the changes are more on that end, I assume?
Absolutely. These are incremental and very subtle changes that have been added because we always have to keep in mind the economic aspects of a breeding program. You don't get paid for carbon credits yet. Maybe someday we will, but until we do, the main focus is always going to be on milk content. So fat, protein which is what people get paid on, but also fertility traits, etc. So we're really trying to keep improving those traits while adding our sustainability traits like body maintenance, feed efficiency, and methane emissions.
No, I wanted to bring that up just so people really know, like you're not, because we have all seen, right? Like there's all these tools or these approaches. We got to make this huge impact environmentally and the cow don't make milk. It's like, well, is it because they're not making milk? Then they're not like healthy, right? So that's very good. So those are very innovative approaches and a lot of very good information. So being someone in this group and working this forefront of all this very interesting topics, what excites you the most and how to use this knowledge and this technology and this everything you're doing for the future of the dairy industry?
It's super exciting because as a scientist, the best thing that can happen to your research is that you see it get implemented. And we have a really good relationship with our industry partners. We work together, we work collaboratively, we're pulling on the same string in the same direction, which is super beneficial for the students as well and the researchers involved because you see we're not just writing a publication that 3 people are going to read. We're changing how we breed the herd of dairy. It's really important, I think, as well, from our vantage point, to keep the social license of animal protein. This is a much bigger, deeper conversation. Sometimes when you're on the ground, you don't see that aspect of it. But the number of people producing food in North America is getting smaller every single day. The pressures are high, and we have to remember we're all on the same team. We have a responsibility to do the best job we can. And as a scientist, I feel like my team and I, we try our best to do our part. And we see the changes. We see the change in dialogue. 10 years ago, if you Googled methane or you Googled cow, you'd see a picture of a cow with a big nuclear bomb coming out of her back end, right?
I remember those. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And that's wrong, first of all. It comes out the front end. And second of all, now, if you Google methane and cows, you might start to see headlines like breeding programs to make cows less gassy, or award-winning research or award-winning dairy industry methods are reducing the greenhouse gas footprint of the dairy industry. That's where we need to be. And it's not easy because there's a lot of factors working against us, but we are working together to clarify the impact of dairy on the environment. And we need to keep doing that because we're not telling our story well enough yet. But I think we're on the right path, which is inspiring and happy. I'm happy about that.
That's super. It's very good. And we can only control what we can control, right? So
exactly.
If you're telling a story and it's scientifically sound, for what's worth, it's the truth that we know, right? So we can control what we're putting out, how people are perceiving it. We can do better. And I think we're all learning. All of us in the dairy science community are scientists, and we're not very good communicators. And I think we're getting better. So we partner up. I bet there's some institutions on your program that are working on how can we communicate, and that's very valuable.
Exactly.
Well, thank you again for participating on the podcast and joining us once again and sharing all this great work you're doing. I'm really glad that we had a chance to get you again. I hope I'll see you more in the future with more updates from this.
Thanks for having me.
This concludes another episode of the Dairy Health Blackbelt Podcast, presented to you by 𝗦𝗽cie. Thank you for joining us today. If you have any suggestions, comments, please send us to us. We really value your feedback, and we want to bring to you what you're looking for to help you in the process of gaining more knowledge and making the dairy science and the dairy health improve. I'll see you next time. I'm 𝗦𝗽cie𝗁𝘀𝘁𝘀, and this is the Dairy Health Black Belt Podcast. Thank you. Bye.